Nathan's picked up a time penalty, a crucial one in the fight for victory with 15 laps to go at Kota in League of Europe Endure, because Larkin, 2.4 seconds clear, now has a penalty advantage in his pocket as well. RJ, the only other driver without a penalty, Campbell picks up one, is now they're starting to flood in as the drivers are pushed to the sinews of their attention spans here. They can only sit on a pad for so long as Carmenthis tries to get through on Luke in turn 11. We've seen the hard tyres slipping off in this race, and Carmenthis looking to continue that trend, and has got the DRS now and is alongside and now ahead of Luke into the braking zone of turn 12. I am QVR Killer, as I have been, and I'm joined by the delightful QVR Dylan, as Luke got forced right on the curb there, ended up losing a few places and being spun round as well. Just holds on to P12 ahead of Miami. Carmenthis, worth mentioning, of course, our championship leader in P8, needs a good result. Rocco is in the fight for the championship as well at the moment, and running in P3, so looking very good for Rocco. And now Nathan's got a penalty. He's in the position to take a effective second place in this race, and a second place on track as well, even after penalties shake out. Dylan, what are your feelings on this race? We've got 14 laps left in this one.
This race has been very exciting. We've seen some amazing battles so far, and I think we're going to see another one, and I think that's going to be Harry Norg and Wouter. These two have been battling quite a bit in this second stint of the race, and we've seen Harry Norg battling a lot in the first stint as well. But it's been a good race so far, actually. There's been a lot of overtakes, a lot of battles, a lot of moves, a lot of terrorism that we've seen, and to be honest, it's been quite entertaining.
It's been a genuinely entertaining race, hasn't it? Considering we've had no rain or anything to speak of. Jenkins, worth saying, now on to 32 seconds of penalties. I think one more, 5 seconds of that for a collision with RJ. One more, and he may well be disqualified. I just want to quote something that I said before you came in the commentary box. Before I started the stream, I said to Larkin, if you DNF lap 3. Come commentate with me.
Nathan spun.
And Nathan spun
from second.
And Larkin's response was, I'm in the Alpine, I'm winning. Is that going to prove to be fate? But Nathan isn't winning, was winning for so long in this race, and you can see the tyres are cooked on the rears there. Drops to P4 between the two Aston Martins. Were you on board with that, Dylan? Did you just light up the rear tyres?
I was on board with Rocco, and I saw the perfect point of view of that spin. Unfortunately for Nathan, as he just had just lost complete traction in the middle of turn 14, I believe it is. So he has just lost it and spun. I don't think he has picked up wing damage from that, fortunately enough for him. However, his hard tyres are cooked right now, as Harry Norg gets past Wouter. He makes a very nice move on those medium tyres, uses his traction and gets past Wouter, and now Wouter has to stick behind for now. Maybe has to hold on a little bit longer for those hard tyres to finally get going again.
Yeah, I was going to say, your theory of the hard tyres will come good, they will come good, is wishful thinking for now. I mean, we've got 13 laps left, including this one. They are going to come at some point, inevitably, because the medium tyres otherwise be going for 28 laps, and they're going to suffer eventually. Rocco is catching Larkin, it's worth saying, but Larkin's advantage effectively 6.2 seconds as RJ passes Coxey, who's spun on the exit 10-11. Let's get the track map up, we haven't put that on. I didn't say, the reason we disconnected, by the way, is because Codemasters can't make a game. My game crashed, which automatically ended the stream. And look at Harry Noag here. He's actually trying to pursue Nathan, and Nathan was clear after that safety car restart with his hard tyre train. Now he's caught in it. Those hard tyres not looking good, as is the case for Wouter and for Luke and for Campbell. It has been since this race, if I get my words out, safety car restart. So Nathan could be losing yet another place here. He's only got 3 seconds of penalties, 9 for Harry Noir, 9 for PZM, so he's still looking on for a podium finish here as Nathan, even if he loses this place to Harry Noir, which looks like it's about to happen right about now. But he can't afford to lose one for Wouter, who is also on 3 seconds, although Nathan's got very good straight line speed in the Haas. Harry Noir doesn't care, laid on the brakes, and Nathan gets forced a little bit wide there. He thought that one too much, and Wouter's going to face him as they drop down the hill, and Wouter just gets shoved wide there onto the painted part of the track, and they bump wheels not once but twice through turn 3. Nathan's off track, Wouters off track. Jennings is trying to get involved in the action. In doing so, it's bringing Car Mentalist into play here through the middle section of the track, and Campbell as well. Everyone's looking for a move. Nathan gets very out of shape on the exit of 9. Wouters going to follow him through 10, and they bump wheel nose to tail there through turn 11. Wouters through. Harry Nawag, I think, Jay Hings might be through. Carmenlis is definitely through on Jay Hings, and now Nathan's coming back with those terrorist wings on Wouter towards turn 12. Can we get a good look at Jay Hings here along the inside? And Carmenlis is going to do the same. Carmenlis could gain 4 places here, possibly. And they pinch up against the apex. What is this race? Wouters forced very wide, and now Nathan barging wheels with Carmenlis. They're not two you want to see together on track. It's only going to end in tears. And Campbell might be sneaking through here. Carmenlis up the inside of Nathan into 15. Campbell's forced around the long way. Nathan and Carmenlis take each other off the track, and Campbell just slots in between them. Nathan has lost a place to Jay Hings, lost a place to Wouter, to Carmenlis, to Campbell, to RJ, and I think we'll be coming into the pits to retire now out of sheer frustration. Perhaps no, Nathan's carrying on. Fair play to him. That's enough to sucker punch any man when you lose those kinds of places.
Definitely.
But
he has lost a little bit of M-play as well.
He's lost M-play. That was probably why he let RJ go. But with a 3-second penalty, there's still places to be had. I wonder if he got that contact with Jay Hings or Wouter or Carmen. It's one of them, but I've got no idea who.
There was so much going on in that section, that point of the race. There's insanely aggressive battling, and wow, I'm amazed that only Nathan's the one that had some damage out of that one, because those 4 cars were very close to getting on track.
That car does not look like it wants to turn one bit. Nathan has cut 2 corners in the S's and shows with a 3-second penalty. It was going so well for him. Even when he was sitting second behind, Larkin still on course for a very solid result. It's not going to be the case any longer. And here we go for part 2. It's now Wouter pursuing Jay Hings, although Jay Hings had tremendous overspeed down the straight last time around. Let's get the telemetry on. Let's see. 305, 307 for Jay Hings without DRS. 308 for Wouter with DRS. 1 kph advantage for the Aston Martin, even with DRS. I think he's going to have a difficult time trying to get back past the Ferrari.
He doesn't need to, however, as Jings has half a lap's worth, or more than. I think he has a third of a lap's worth of time. Yeah, a third of the lap's worth of time penalties. So, Wouter has no reason to go past it. Jings goes off the track again. So yeah, Wouter can just safely stay behind Jings and uses ERS and DRS to defend against Campbell, or not Campbell, Carmentis is behind.
Nathan is going to need a new front wing. No sign of a retirement from Nathan, which is what we like to see. Everyone on Nathan committed to try and get to the end of this race. Larkin's lead now 3.5. It had come down briefly when Rocco got past Nathan to around 3.1. And Larkin's bringing that back up again the last couple of laps. It is just going this way and that. The pace is very even between those two. It is certainly a race between those two and nobody else. Only a really late safety car, I think, will scupper Larkin's chances of victory here, because even if he gets a penalty, he's still got 3.5 seconds in pocket. P's 13 seconds off the lead, running a quiet race now after a very eventful one earlier on, and Harry Noir in a similar situation in P4. The other Ferrari, though, less could be said of a quiet race for him, because he's got Wouter, Carmentis, Campbell and RJ still very close, and the two Williams there are going to go side by side into turn 12, and Campbell nicely gets the move done there, and again sensibly parks his car on the apex, gives Carmentis no impetus to go around inside or outside, and covers off P7. RJ will be watching this, hoping for a few more shenanigans, and maybe a whiff of an overtake will present itself for the Alpine, who will be hoping to gain a few more points in the championship. No Constructors' Championship in Enduro, of course. It's all about the drivers, because the drivers yo-yo from car to car, week to week. Larkin's lead now sits at 4 seconds still.
Yeah, he's been stretching out that gap throughout this medium stint of his, so he's been looking very well, very good, and RJ is looking very good as well. The back of Carmentis uses ERS nicely. Carmentis is derating, and RJ goes down the inside of Carmentis down into turn 1, gives Carmentis the space on the outside. Carmentis has a little bit of curb and doesn't get the traction, and the same traction as RJ gets, and RJ completes the move very nicely down the inside of turn 1.
He does, and Car Mentalist briefly had a whiff of something, a good result there, a solid result, P5, P6, but has sunk down to P9. RJ, I want to have a look at this. RJ's 22.1 seconds off the lead. Pease is... Oh, and I'm going to interrupt myself because there's Wouter back past J Hings into turn 11, and we'll have DRS as well to defend, I believe. But if we look at the penalties... Oh no, J Hings does have DRS. Yeah, J Hings is going to blast right back past here. Look at this. This is going to be the easiest overtake you've ever seen. Because that Aston is on 2.96 by the end of the straight, and it was well over 3.10. As Campbell now nearly gets past by RJ, and does get past by RJ. A bit of contact there, but RJ takes P7. Look, RJ in this race is going to finish right now ahead of Wouter, ahead of J Hings, ahead of Harry Noirg, and by 0.4 of a second ahead of Pease. RJ is in 3rd place in this race right now. Probably won't know it, but he's in 3rd place. So that was a crucial move, actually, in the grand scheme of things. And he got past Campbell. He needs to maximise those soft tyres as much as he possibly can. Pease 13.9 off the lead. RJ 22.6. The gap between Pease and RJ is currently 8.2. 8.8 rather. 8.8, so he's just clinging within that 9-second window. So RJ's still on for a podium as Nathan has spun at turn 19.
Yeah, it's been a very unfortunate race for Nathan, as he's looked so immense. Like he was immense the first half of the race. Looked untouchable for the most part of that, and unfortunately for this, in his second stint, it's all gone sour for him, and he's now in plumb last, pits again, and onto the soft tyres to try and set the fast lap of the race, and yeah, it's gone downhill for him. He looked so quick in that Haas car, and unfortunately it's not gone well for him, picking up that damage in that battle with James, Car Mentalist, Harry Noirg and Wouter.
Again, I'm just fascinated by the speeds here. 308 kilometres apiece for J Hings and for Wouter, and even though Wouter had slipstream and DRS, he could only just draw level with J Hings' top speed. That is remarkable. What's the RJ gap? It's 8.5, so it's just coming in RJ's favour a little bit this lap, but he needs to push every bit to the checkered flag, every single corner, if he's going to beat Pease for P3. They're on similar tyres right now. RJ's a 1 lap fresher, which may provide a small but crucial advantage. Pease 14.3 off the lead, 22.8 for RJ, and needs to do everything he can to keep Campbell behind as well, because Campbell could be a very disruptive influence in RJ's race in this one. Even Campbell and Carmen, with only... Oh, they've got 2 penalties each. So actually, yeah, Wouters could get P4 here. We're looking at, potentially, if Wouter and RJ find some pace, we're looking at a P3 for RJ and maybe even a P4 for Wouter. But Wouter has just picked up a penalty as I say that.
That is the definition of commentator's curse right there. As we just talk about time penalties, Wouter picks up another one and is now still at the back of the Ferrari of J Hings. Gets a good exit, uses a little bit of ERS, but again, it looks like J Hings is actually stretching out the gap a little bit, and Wouter's getting it back now in the middle of the straight. But yeah, these two cars have no difference in straight down speed, despite Wouter having DRS and slipstream on that straight.
He needs a bit of magic, does Wouter, to try and make a move. Nathan's picked up a penalty in the S's, and even though he's changed his front wing, RJ's actually catching P's now. The gap 8.0 in fact, so that's coming very nicely towards RJ for a potential P3. And with Wouter a second further up the road, Wouter's only 7 seconds behind P's. If he finds one more second, he'll have P's on penalties, and he will be able to see that on his delta, but needs to get past RJ is his problem. And P's himself is now in a position where he's vulnerable to Harry Noirg. So one Aston is on the attack on a Ferrari, the other one is looking to defend. And we've got just 6 laps to go until we can end the stream and all go play Warzone.
Yeah, so, to be honest, now you mention that, playing Warzone will probably be a lot less exciting than watching this race. Because this race has been immense with battles throughout, so... And we still don't know who might finish on the final podium spot. So it's definitely been a good enduro race so far.
It's been one of the better ones, hasn't it? We've not even had a safety car in the second half of it, but we've got it's sort of a tense battle. What this reminds me of, do you remember at the end of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix in 2022, when Verstappen passed Leclerc with a couple of laps left, and because that Red Bull was so quick in a straight line, the Ferrari just couldn't do anything about it, no matter how quick it was through the corners. That's how I'm feeling about Wouter and Jay Hings right now. Wouter needs a mistake to pass Jay Hings, and he does need to pass Jay Hings, even with Jay Hings' penalty. He's in a position, Wouter, where he can catch Pease and get him on penalties, but he needs clear track to do that. What's the gap? It's 7.2. Wouter needs another 1.2 seconds.
Wouter has 6 seconds of time penalties.
Oh yeah, of course.
Of
course, commentator curse. I forgot about that. I deleted that from my head. But RJ's still good for P3 though.
Yeah, RJ's looking very good as he's caught back up to the back of the Aston Martin of Wouter, and so he's looking very quick on those medium tires. And I'm starting to concede that the hard tires will in fact not come into play during the end of this race. They haven't been the tire to be on after the safety car. So yeah, I concede, I take my L, and we go again.
I mean, you can see just at the moment that Campbell, I feel like, is coming back into this battle for P5 on track. Quickly going to look at is Harry Noir close to Pease this lap. He actually is quite close to Pease this lap, gaining right towards the braking zone. Harry Noir could have a send here, backs out of it, takes the wide line, try and carry a bit more speed through, but not enough. Pease D1 experience showing through there. But yeah, Campbell does feel like he's getting more into a position to have an attempt here. He's on 22 lap tyres. Wouter's on the oldest with 27. But those mediums, we're at the point now where Nathan's pace was really dropping off at the start of the race. The mediums will be struggling, they'll be crying, screaming even a little bit. Of course, for those on the mediums, it's the same for everyone. But for Campbell, it smells like opportunity.
It definitely does, because he's looking quite quick behind RJ this entire stint. He's been roughly within a quarter of a second almost the entire time behind RJ, and RJ has been towing him along to the train of Jay Hings, as Wouter is very close behind Jay Hings, does not have the opportunity to go for him. But Jay Hings goes extremely wide into turn 1, and it allows Wouter, that's the chance he needs to get past Jay Hings. They're now side by side, Jay Hings and Wouter edges out in front. That is exactly what Wouter needed to get past the Ferrari, and he's done that incredibly well so far. And now he has to watch out for the straight and try and create as much of a gap as possible. And RJ is extremely close behind the Ferrari as well. He looks to try and get past the Ferrari for the move, and Jay is going extremely slow, and RJ is sliding a lot, and now that allows Campbell to go through, and RJ has lost so much time because of that. I think Campbell has an illegal overtake because of that, because he overtook him off track, unfortunately, and that slight moment from Jay Hings sliding has caused RJ to slide and Campbell to slow down as well to let RJ back through.
I wonder if there was contact there. I don't know what your camera angle was, but for me that looked like Campbell hit the back of RJ. RJ couldn't go any faster because Jay Hings was so slow, but then Campbell just touched the back of RJ. I don't know if it looked that way from what you saw, but from the wide angle, it looked like that was contact, which was why I thought Campbell led him back through. But it has ruined RJ's podium hopes. He's what? Well, actually, no, not completely. He's 9.3 behind Pease. If he gets those 3/10 back, he's back in P3 range.
Yeah, and that's the luck Pease always has on every game he plays, where RJ does not make a mistake due to his own error and has to watch out for the car in front of him, and that just shows how lucky Pease actually is all the time.
And look at Pease. Let's have a look at Pease and Harry Noir. Harry Noir was so close to the back of Aston through the S section as we now come through 7. Here's 8 as you rise to the top of the hill over the crest of 9. 10's a non-corner as the track drops away from you, and then you approach turn 11. You've got plenty of time to think about it. You want to brake in a straight line, open up the corner, and accelerate in a straight line, get lots of traction, and a little squirm for P's there. Wouter is going to, not Wouter, Harry is going to set this move up very nicely. He's got great slipstream. You'll see the red light blinking, and we've got a yellow flag. We don't care about that because here comes Harry Noir to the outside. Isn't brave enough on the brakes. There's a little game of chicken here. He's going to brake later, but Harry Noir holds that out fabulously around the outside of 12 and gets the move done. He's into P3 on track, and they both had 9 seconds of penalties. That is a real bona fide overtake for position, and RJ has gone again at 12, and his podium's definitely gone now, and a few more places almost certainly with it. So that Harry Noir overtake has just become an overtake for a podium position. It wasn't an overtake for P4 as it was going to be. It's now an overtake for P3 as we're now on to the second to last lap of this race. Tragedy for RJ there. 54 laps, and third last one, he comes unstuck.
That is very unfortunate for RJ, as he's been driving this entire race with no penalties, looking for a podium place, and just spins out 2 laps before the end. That is very, very unfortunate. I didn't quite catch what happened between him and Campbell. Maybe they had a little bit of contact at the end of the straight. However, that's very sour for RJ, as he's been driving incredibly well so far this race, as both Alpines are the only cars with no penalties. And that is very unlucky for RJ, and obviously fitting the agenda, very lucky for Pease.
Indeed, very lucky for Pease, but you got passed by Harry Noir, so sweet and sour for the Aston driver. And Wouter is catching Pease quite a lot. I think if we had a few more laps here, Wouter could get within Pease's penalty window. He certainly would have been within it if it wasn't for his second penalty, but early a few laps ago. But Wouter looks very quick now on the hard tyres. I think we've hit that point finally where the hard tyres are working relative to the mediums. 2 laps from the end and we're there. Because Campbell's not really catching Jay Hings, is he? So it's not completely the case, because Campbell's, I know he had to slow down for RJ, but he's not really dragged his way straight back towards the Ferrari Jay Hings, which we know is going to be running some very skinny wings through the corners as well. 7.3 for Larkin now, just clocked that. That's a gigantic lead, isn't it? Such a brilliant race he's driven as we're now on the last lap of this race.
Yeah, it's definitely been a faultless race from Larkin, and he's looked supreme. Even on the hard tyres at the start of the race, he held strong with the soft and medium guys in front of him, and as a result of that and that safety car, he's in the lead of the race, leading very nicely, and just incredible drive so far from him.
Well, he did promise he was going to win. He said, as James picks up his 38 seconds penalty in this race, he did promise. He was in an Alpine. He said, I'm going to win China 2.0 is what Larkin promised earlier on to me, and so it has turned out to be. He's not just been the class of the field in terms of the pace, but he's failed to pick up a penalty as well, and the same could only be said of his teammate. And even those that failed to finish, plenty of them picked up their penalties as well. It's been an immaculate, faultless drive from the head organiser of League of Europe and my esteemed Division 2 teammate. He said he was going to win, and so he has. ERT Larkin's going to take victory in Kota, in Endure, making up for the race he missed earlier on in the season. Rocco's going to come home a very lonely P2, but a faultless drive from him nonetheless in the second half of the race. The less said about the first half of his drive, the better. Harry Noir is going to take the final podium place, and deserved as well. He's driven very well, avoided mistakes. Pease is in fourth, and it's going to be fifth for Wouter. The Aston Martins were front and centre of all the action in this race. Jay Hings will take sixth. Campbell has recovered and then fallen and recovered again to seventh, but he'll jump ahead of Jay Hings. Luke leaps from eighth to sixth. Carmentless across the line now, as comes RJ. Could have been a podium for RJ. In the end, it's only 8th place. Carmentless is 9th. Jay Hings will take 10th. And that will be that, as Miami crosses the line and he too nips ahead of Jay Hings with his unspeakable amount of penalties. But Dylan, you can't fault really Larkin for the entirety of that race. He was on exactly the right strategy in the end, as it turned out. And for Rocco in the second half of that race, they both had tremendous pace and tremendous consistency as well.
Yeah, definitely, and that was just an incredible drive from all of those drivers, and I think this race has been the best indoor race I've seen so far this season. So yeah, the sheer amount of chaos and battles and strategies made this race incredible in my opinion. And who do you think is your driver of the day?
I'm really bored. I'm going to give it to Larkin. The hard, stood on the hards. He stayed with in the DRS train as well as he could have possibly done. Never slipped out of it. Didn't make a mistake. Didn't pick up a penalty. And then on the mediums at the end, he just drove away from everybody. A 97-minute race exactly, and only 2 drivers there without penalties. ERT Larkin wins from 6th on the grid, and Rocco takes P2. Harry Noir went from 17th to 3rd in the end. P's 4th, Wouter 5th for the 2 Aston Martins, Luke 6th, Campbell 7th, RJ 8th, Carmentalist 9th, Miami 10th, Jay Hings 11th, Coxey 12th, Nathan 13th, the last of our finishers. What that race could have been for him. And then Brent, Marty, Farrell, Melty, Felipe, California and Timon all retiring in the end, and plenty of our DNFers picking up penalties as well. So that concludes this evening's proceedings. From myself, because I know I'm very eager to get off, and I know Dylan probably is as well. From myself and from Dylan, thank you for tuning in. Dylan, is there anything you want to say to our lovely viewers before we end?
Thank you so much for me being allowed to join you in the comments box
Thank
for
you
this
for
race.
asking. How grateful you are. I'm more thankful that you asked, believe you me.
And yeah, maybe you'll see me in the commentary box again later this season. Just depends on the situation, to be honest. And yeah, it was a joy commentating with you this entire race, as it was very entertaining and very fun to chill in the party here with you.
Thank you. A pleasure, likewise, my friend. But from us, that is it for this evening. I've been QVR Killer. He's been QVR Dylan. You have been QVR supporters. Thank you for liking and subscribing to the QVR Nation and the League of Europe YouTube channel, of course. It's been League of Europe Endure. Until 3 weeks' time, thank you for tuning in.